Christmas Eve had wrapped the city in cold winds and glowing lights. But for Emily Carter, the season felt heavier than ever before. Snowflakes drifted outside the cracked apartment window, while the faint sound of Christmas music echoed from the streets below. Inside her tiny apartment, the heater barely worked, and the kitchen shelves were almost empty. Emily sat quietly at the old wooden table, counting the last $20 in her purse. $20. That was everything she had left for Christmas Eve dinner, for herself and her 6-year-old twin daughters Lily and Sophie. The girls sat on the floor nearby, drawing Christmas trees with broken crayons while wearing oversized sweaters Emily had found at a thrift store. Even though life had been cruel to them, the twins still smiled with innocent hope. "Mommy, do you think Santa knows our address?" Sophie asked softly. Emily forced a smile, even though her heart ached. "Of course he does, sweetheart," she whispered. But deep inside, she wondered how she would survive another week. Emily had once dreamed of a beautiful life. Years ago, she and her husband Daniel talked about buying a home, traveling, and giving their future children everything they deserved. But cancer had taken Daniel away just 2 years after the twins were born. Since then, Emily worked endless shifts at a small diner, barely earning enough for rent and food. Every month became a battle, and every single day felt like survival. Yet she never let her daughters see her break. That Christmas Eve, after paying the overdue electric bill, only $20 remained. Emily wrapped her scarf tightly around herself and took the twins to a small grocery store downtown, hoping she could somehow create a simple Christmas dinner. Outside, the city sparkled with holiday joy. Families laughed together, carrying bags filled with gifts. Christmas lights reflected across the snowy sidewalks. Emily avoided looking at the expensive restaurants and crowded stores. They only reminded her of everything she couldn't give her daughters. Inside the grocery store, she carefully counted every item she placed in the basket: bread, soup, pasta, and a small box of cookies the girls had quietly stared at for several minutes. When they reached the cashier, the total came to $23.40. Emily froze. 40 cents short. Her face turned pale as she searched her purse again, hoping she had missed something. But there was nothing left. Quietly embarrassed, she removed the cookies from the counter. Lily looked down, trying not to cry. "It's okay, Mommy," she whispered. "We don't need cookies." The cashier sighed impatiently as people waited behind them. Emily's hands trembled. She could feel every stare behind her. Then, a calm voice spoke from behind her. "Keep the cookies." Emily turned. A young man stood there in a dark winter coat, holding a few grocery bags. He looked no older than 25, with kind eyes and a calm smile. Before Emily could respond, he stepped forward and placed his black credit card on the counter. "I'll pay for everything." Emily immediately shook her head. "No, please, you don't have to do that." But he simply smiled. Christmas isn't meant to leave people behind. The cashier processed the payment. The twins stood frozen, watching in disbelief. Sophie hugged the cookie box tightly like it was something precious. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't even know your name." "Michael," he replied gently. "And trust me, this is nothing." After they finished packing the groceries, Emily prepared to leave, but Michael noticed how badly the girls were shivering in the cold. "Wait," he said softly. "At least let me drive you home." Emily hesitated, but exhaustion finally overcame her pride. Outside, a sleek black SUV waited at the curb. The twins climbed inside carefully, amazed by the warmth and soft leather seats. During the drive, Michael spoke kindly with the girls, asking about school and Christmas wishes. Lily quietly said something that made Emily turn away. "I just want Mommy to stop being sad all the time." Emily quickly looked out the window, hiding her tears. When they reached their apartment building, Michael's expression changed. The broken stairs, flickering hallway lights, and cold entrance made him realize how hard their lives truly were. Before leaving, he handed Emily a small business card. "If you ever need help," he said, "call me." Emily looked down at the card and froze. Michael Anderson. Anderson Holdings. One of the most powerful business names in the country. Emily looked up in disbelief, but Michael only smiled, then drove away into the snowy night. That evening, Emily prepared a small Christmas dinner while the twins happily shared cookies and warm soup. For the first time in months, the apartment felt peaceful. Then there was a knock at the door. Emily opened it slowly and froze. Outside stood several workers carrying large boxes wrapped in red ribbons. "Delivery for Miss Emily Carter," one of them said. Box after box was brought inside. Warm blankets, toys, food, winter clothes, a fully decorated Christmas tree, and finally a small envelope. Emily opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a handwritten note. From Michael. "No child should feel forgotten on Christmas. Tomorrow morning, a job interview will be waiting for you at Anderson Holdings. You don't need charity, Emily. You deserve opportunity. Merry Christmas." Emily broke down in tears, holding the letter tightly to her chest. The twins hugged her, confused but smiling as they saw their mother cry. Not from pain this time but from hope. That night, for the first time in years, Emily cried not because life was breaking her, but because it was finally giving her a chance. Months later, Emily became a manager in one of Anderson Holdings' community programs, helping struggling families rebuild their lives. She and her daughters moved into a warm, safe apartment filled with laughter instead of silence. And every Christmas Eve after that, Emily volunteered at grocery stores across the city, quietly paying for families who couldn't afford their groceries, just like someone once did for her. Because sometimes one small act of kindness can change an entire life forever. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more emotional and inspiring stories every week. Your support helps us share powerful stories of hope, kindness, and second chances with people around the world.